Welcome. And the question today from P. Beret is, what are subtle red flags at a job interview that say working here would suck? Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his llama pen, so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. If this is your first time watching our videos, help me out by watching to the end, and then giving me some feedback in the comment area below. I do respond to every single one, so don't be shy. And if you want more of these videos daily, don't forget to like and subscribe, with notifications turned on for this channel. Oh boy, let's get ready for some drama. Ikogat answered with, I always ask about training and learning curves. Every job I've had that went wrong, I noticed that when that question came up they stumbled. The current job I have, when I asked the question, they had sparks in their eyes as they explained the whole process. From day one of shadowing to the transition to working solo. And even when COVID hit, they managed to continue without skipping a beat. Takeatori answered with, they told me all about their generous severance packages. In the initial interview. Turnover City. MOKAMA answered with, well, the overtime isn't mandatory, but most folks stick around after hours most days. Spoilers, the overtime is mandatory. Fantastic. You should know that if you choose me for this position, I will be declining the optional overtime. I mean, if you're going to walk anyway, it might be funny to call their bluff. Conman 504 answered with, was interviewed by a senior programmer and the department head. The department head was continuously making condescending remarks towards the other interviewer. Poor guy just sounded broken. Hope he's somewhere else now. On a second interview, the general manager brought me into the conference room with his 8 managers present. At first, I thought it was a meet and greet, but no, they grilled me for an hour and a half. Didn't appreciate that along with a couple of other things, and politely withdrew from being considered. A couple of months later, I'm playing in a ball tournament, and come across one of the managers. I mentioned how weird that interview was. He says, weird for you? Ha! I found out then and there, you were being interviewed for my job. Yep, dodged a bullet there. Maniac Dan answered with, I was once part of a group onboarding for an IT job. They handed us all the one-page new hire, contract, and everyone except me signed immediately. When I read the paperwork, I discovered we were signing a mystery document. Clauses included, I agree to abide by the personal search and seizure security policy, attached. Without other pages, there was no way to determine what I was agreeing to. I kept requesting more and more pages until the HR drone said, okay, I guess, me, is just determined to hold everyone up. We will handle you separately if you're struggling so much. After I walked out and drove home, I called the hiring manager to apologize for not taking the job. He informed me that HR reported I had walked out after refusing to be drug tested. I was asked to sign a contract that gave the employer full access to my medical records. It was supposedly for drug testing, but worded badly. I signed every other page, and got the job. Would have been very interesting if they felt like drug testing me, and they weren't able to. Expensive Historian answered with, last job I worked. Yay, everyone here is new, but it's totally because of COVID. The boss doesn't like people going out to get lunch. Because they're afraid you'll never come back, so bring your own lunch. You'll get weird looks if you leave on time. It was a Chinese-owned company with heavy Chinese work culture influence. So you were expected to stay overtime all week. Also, the people here are nice, but it's pretty stressful. Ada. Also was told by my trainer, you want to know the best advice I can give you? Find another job. This was like, my second weekend. Lempira Holio answered with, once an interviewer straight up asked me if I had any trouble working for free on weekends. I told them my free time is more valuable than anything. And that the only way that I would work a weekend is, if they are paying me. And if I felt like working a weekend. She got really mad at me and ended the interview right away. Biggest red flag I've ever seen, because they didn't even try to hide it. Since when is it legal to have employees working and not paying them? What a psycho. Space 2345 answered with, when they ask out of nowhere what clients can you bring with you? I interviewed with MetLife Insurance about 20 years ago. They demanded that I provide them with a contact list of no fewer than 100 friends and family. Nope, out of that quickly. Original Resist 4570 answered with, my favorite is, there's a lot of people waiting in line to work here, count yourself lucky. Huge red flag. After my last job, I have learned to take the attitude that in interviewing the job, too. I used to think, well, I need a job, and let myself think it was sweet that I was being given the chance, but I have a great work ethic, so I always become the man. Supervisors seem to love that term. Well, I've learned that when they say that they mean, they are going to heap a lot more work and responsibility on you than your coworkers. So, now I go into interviews with the attitude that I can always find another job, so I judge the company now. Dragons Love Tacos answered with, this actually happened to me. Interviewer, do you have any questions for us? Me, what is a challenge this department has recently faced? Interviewer, job security. Al Mao, gotta give them props for honesty at that point. He should have just gotten up and opened the door and gestured out. How do you even answer after that? Just okay and walk away? Saxon Shields 69 answered with, when you are signing all the forms they give you, and you are taking your time to read over every document, so that you can fully understand what you are getting into. And people come in and start telling you that you don't need to read this and that, just sign here and so on. I hate that in any situation, not just jobs. Buying something big like a car and they're like, oh, it's just standard contract stuff. Let me decide if it's standard. You know full well if I sign this, I've agreed to whatever the F is written. Company, standard contact stuff, don't need to read it, just sign. Also company, when in court, you should have read the contract to know what you were signing. Couch Slug answered with, I didn't know it at the time, but you'll be wearing many hats was a sign that they were going to give me the work of 4 positions, and the wage of 1. I didn't last a year there before I left. And now I won't even finish reading job ads that include that line. That's a non-profit motto if I ever heard one. If you are unsure what direction you want to take your career, many hats jobs do help you figure it out. They will also leave you angry, tired, and frustrated, but you'll leave with a better sense of what you are good at, and what you like doing. Accident-prone hiker answered with, you are required to wear clothing that has the company logo. You must purchase it yourself. From the company. Zerato answered with, jobs where the expectations of the position aren't clear. The person hiring you should be able to give a clear idea of your responsibilities or day-to-day in a practical way. It shows that the company understands what it wants out of the position. I've worked a couple of positions that had a really hard time figuring out who was supposed to do what, that lead to a lot of confusion. And both of them had this in the interviews. If the company you're working for can't define what success in that position looks like, you won't be able to either. Medea Mashup answered with, I interviewed for an independent contractor position on a piece rate. It's hard to predict how much you're going to earn on a piece rate, so to attract me the manager showed me some pay stubs from his guys. I noticed that he could easily cherry pick pay stubs to show me his best guys' best weeks. All that tells me is that I'm likely to make less than what he's showing me, at least on average. The pay stubs were obviously designed to be confusing. They were full page and absolutely covered in data. He wanted me to be impressed by a dollar amount. Obviously not accounting for costs which the contractor has to carry, or taxes which the contractor has to deduct and pay. But he took them away before anyone could have deciphered what the pay period, piece rate, number of jobs, or KM was. He showed me other people's pay stubs. What the F? Another red flag is that they were desperate to hire, because they didn't have enough contractors to deliver the work contracts they'd already sold. I had 2 guys from different offices call me after I declined the position, who apparently still thought I was considering it. Karmatika answered with, my current boss gave me a great tip on the last interview I had. He said, ask them if you can pick an employee to chat with about how they like the position you're applying for. They'll give a better impression of the place than management. I got the job I was interviewing for. I turned it down because the above is the kind of management I want to keep in my life. Also, the place undercut my pay offer, I found out, which is certainly also a red flag. Beard Lover answered with, when you ask, what do you like about working here? And the interviewer talks about the location of the job. It's a great place to live, instead of the actual job. I asked this at one of my first interviews right out of school. My interviewer went, that's a good question. And was ruminating for a good 2 minutes. She went with, we get pretty good parking spots. And quickly followed with, and the people are nice. Poso answered with, at my last place of work, the person interviewing me had a printed cartoon on their wall of someone who looked like a bomb had blown up in their face, with the caption, I spoke with boss name about it. I guess we're still doing it. That wasn't subtle at all, but I ignored it. The boss was an absolute tyrant who wouldn't listen to her staff, consider changing her mind about anything, or let people do the work they were best suited to do. She wouldn't show up for weeks at a time. The job itself was decent, but she was the worst boss I've ever had. And finally, Pissing in the Rain 1220 answered with, we only want the best of the best. Me, how much are you paying? Minimum wage. Well, there you have it. A perfectly great question answered by a bunch of fine and honorable citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. I think he found more drama for me to share with you. See you soon.